Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Book Talk. This is Eric B, and I thought I'd do something different this time. We got a nice, warm summer day, actually hot summer day, and we're out here on the beach. And I figure I'll go ahead and give you this particular Book Talk episode out here on the beach, where it's pretty nice out here. Okay, now what I'm going to talk to you about today is um, um, the process of writing books. Now, as I have mentioned before, as you well know, I am a five-time published author. I have published 5 books, one about volunteering, one about public transportation, and 3 that are part of the same superhero series, and with 8 more to come, by the way. And also, this might be a good time for me to mention that I am also in the process of working on a sequel to The Great American Adventures of Modern Big City Railroading. So that's going to be fun. It'd be good to see what happened to those characters after that story ended, and get into even more public transit adventures. But what I'm here to talk to you about today is what you if you've ever listened to the DVD commentary version of a TV series or a movie. I'm pretty sure if you've watched enough of those DVD commentary versions, you're probably aware that TV shows and movies are almost never, I want to say they are never filmed in the order that you see them on the screen. Like sometimes a middle scene of the TV episode or movie is filmed first, and then the first scene is filmed in the latter portion. I've even heard DVD commentary versions where the last scene in the movie was the first one filmed. You just never know. It's one big ball of chaos. You don't know what scenes are going to be filmed first and which ones are going to be filmed second, third, so forth, all the way until the last. Well, that applies to book writing as well. I think that's one of the reasons why I come down so hard on some of this advice given to writers about, write a chapter today or write a chapter this week, or something like that, write another chapter next week, because that makes it sound like book writing is neat and organized, and in my experience it's anything but. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you how just about all of my books got started. All of my books started as one big, giant, chaotic mess. What happens is I come up with an idea, right? And then in some cases, that idea causes me to write, a couple of paragraphs. Sometimes I'm writing a page and a half, maybe even up to 3 pages. I'm just keep on going with all of this inspiration. But I've even had times where all I come up with is a title. I just had this great idea for a title, but I have no idea. I have 0 idea what I'm going to do with that title. I just know that it's a title that I thought of that sounds pretty cool, and I don't even know if I'm going to do anything with it. I once had a title that was sitting in my notebook for 2 whole years before I've decided to dig it out and do something with it. And what happens is, sometimes the initial the initial stuff I write during the early brainstorming stages, because 90% of writing a book is brainstorming, but in the initial brainstorming stages, the one that got the ball rolling, sometimes I put that to the side for a long time and don't really do anything with it, and sometimes I dig it out and I actually start to build upon it. And sometimes, some characters are developed, and sometimes a story is developed. But this is all individual. Sometimes I have a good idea for a beginning and an end to a story, but I have no idea how the middle is going to go. I have other times where I have a good idea for the middle of the story, but I have no idea how I'm going to start it or how I'm going to end it. And sometimes, I have an idea for a beginning, something in the middle, something in the middle, something in the middle, and something in the end. But I have a whole lot of gaps to fill in, and also a lot of times, this is something that's happened a lot for me. Sometimes I'm developing the story for years before one single chapter is formed. So if you understand that, you'll understand I come so down so hard on this advice that's given to writers about make a chapter a day or a week or a month, or make another chapter again next week or next month. That sounds too neat. I have never known the writing process to be that neat. I've always seen the writing process be very, very messy. Sometimes sometimes I got storylines all over the place. Sometimes I have my storylines, this storyline going in one direction and this other part of the same story, mind you, going in a completely different direction. And I have to figure out how I'm going to connect these two pieces of storyline. Sanctuary of the Dark Light is a good example of that. I had a lot of I had a lot of chaotic mess that I had. And matter of fact, actually, there's something I want to say real quick about Sanctuary of the Dark Light. Actually, I originally intended for that book to be released a year earlier than it actually was, but the year that I thought I was done with Sanctuary of the Dark Light, I read through the manuscript and I realized I had a whole lot of holes to fill in. A whole lot of holes. It ended up taking me almost a whole year. To fill in those holes that I had in the Sanctuary of the Dark Light manuscript. It's like I had most of the story developed. The 90% of the story was developed already. But I just had whole lot of holes in the storyline where if I didn't connect them, they wouldn't have made any sense. So I had to spend almost a whole year plugging in those holes. I'm trying to emphasize to you that the writing process is messy. It's not nearly as neat and organized as it sounds like it is in a lot of this bad advice that's out here for writers. And I'm telling you, here I am. I'm a 5-time published author. I'm giving you this advice for free. I'm not trying to sell you anything. So I think you should give my advice more than a little consideration. I'm telling you, you are not going to write a book until you learn to love writing, because it is. I mean, it's brutal sometimes, and if you don't love it, you're going to quit sometime in the middle of the process. You're going to quit if you don't learn to love it. So I strongly advise you to learn to love it, or else you may not end up finishing the book. Now, if you want to, you could hire a ghostwriter. I mean, that's fine. Me personally, I don't want anybody else's hands on my writing. I know what I want in my story, and I don't want anybody else trying to finish my story for me. So I don't believe in ghostwriters. I mean, I don't know. I would take a job as a ghostwriter. I wouldn't mind doing that. I'll fix up somebody else's story, but I don't want anybody else's hands on my story. So if you truly love the craft of writing, if you really, really want to write your own book, you gotta learn to love it. There's no way around it. And that's the bottom line. Okay, thank you for joining me for this episode of Book Talk. Please click the link below to the Sanctuary of the Dark Light website. Remember, all the Night Crusader series books have a free chapter on the website that you can read before you decide whether to buy. Use the Sanctuary of the Dark Light website to find the links to all the other books. Well, all the other books except for the book on volunteering. That's the only one that doesn't have its own website. But all of my other books have their own website. So click the links and hey, who you know, may buy a copy. And you know, if you do buy a copy, please leave a review. Please leave a review on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or somewhere, or Goodreads or somewhere. Okay, thank you very much. Join me again soon.